Okay, hi guys. So this is the front of our home, and this is where we're going to start our tour today. So we are on about 2 acres of land, and there comes one of our kitty cats. I think that is Tigger. Anyhow, so we're going to start our tour. We are in northern Illinois, and we are growing zone 5A. All right, so starting here, this is the front of my husband's shop, and this year we put in the 2 planters that you see on either side. We got those planters at Home Depot, and we filled them with blue junipers, and they were in the poodle cut shape. Over on this side, let me zoom out a little bit here. So on this side you can see that it is still fairly wooded. Our home is pretty thickly wooded on the northern side and on the eastern side, and we just started last year to finally start landscaping our yard. So there's still a lot that's not developed, and there's still a lot to do, but yeah. So this is looking down the side of his shop. You can see right now we're just using it as kind of like a dumping ground, but our hopes are to clean that up and to have it nicely landscaped, and maybe have some kind of a path going through to the back. This is our first raised bed here. My husband built this a number of years ago, and there's 3 sections, and they flip up. We hold them up with those stakes that you see leaning up against the side, and in there we grow a lot of like our kales and lettuce, parsley, carrots, and things like that. Down at the base there, I started some elderberries. I had found one bush in our yard, and I cut a stem of that, and from the one stem that I cut, I was able to propagate all of these baby elderberries. So we're hoping to plant those and have a lot more elderberries in the future. This is our asparagus patch. Alright, so we got the asparagus patch, and this is our garden. We put this in, probably it's been 4 or 5 years since we put it in, and we have 2 raised beds. They're 4 feet by, I think, 20 feet long. So let me take you inside and show you what we've got growing. So I did put in some okra for the first time this year, and I realized that I've only got 4 plants because that was all I could fit in the bed. But I think next year I'm going to plant more, but I'm going to plant them in a different area of our yard so we can have more of them, hopefully enough to actually eat. Well, I mean, we can eat the ones we grow, but, you know, actually make a meal out of. Up our cattle panel, we have growing on one side, we've got our cucumbers. I've got some eggplants. Got 3 of those. Then we have our peppers. Peppers are really doing good this year. We have jalapenos, so I've got to pick those. We've got quite a few in there. Sweet bell peppers and some pepperoncinis. And then we have our tomatoes. And Tigger, you are not supposed to be in the garden. I try not to let my cats in the garden because I noticed that they were using the wood chips as like a litter pan. so I've banned them from the garden, but he just jumped in because I'm in here. Usually I spray him with the hose, but I'm not going to do that right now. Anyhow, so here are our tomato plants. We have a number of different varieties this year that we're growing. We got quite a few from Baker Creek to try this year. Winesap Peach is one of them. Boxcar Willie. We have a Purple Russian and the Brad's Atomic Grape. We also have a lot of Roma tomatoes. I think we have a total of 27 tomato plants growing, but a majority of those are the Romas. Down here we have some ground cherries. These are wonderful. We absolutely love these. These plants are very prolific in producing a large quantity of fruits, and the fruits are really delicious. I don't know if you could see under there, but there's a lot of them. We have, like I said, we've got 3 plants, and really we could probably do with 1 between me and my husband. And that's our strawberry bed. You can see that that's pretty much done for the year. That is a garden barrel, plastic barrel that my husband transformed into a planting barrel. We thought it was a good idea, but 2 years later, we've determined that we're really not able to grow anything really successful out of them. Right now we have some strawberries. This is their 2nd year. The first time we tried growing, actually I think we've had this for 3 years now, and the first 2 years the strawberries died. This past winter was a mild winter, and I was able to cover the barrel with burlap, and we were able to salvage the strawberries. However, between the bugs and the uneven watering, the strawberries didn't really do much of anything, so we're going to end up tossing that. I'll transplant the strawberries in our other strawberry bed that I showed you. And back up here. Here's some vining crops that we have growing. We got some mini watermelons growing, and those I also got from Baker's Creek, and the Kajari melon plant we have growing here, again, a Baker Creek. And then we have some, I don't know if you can see them. I'm going to try to get a shot back here. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but I have 3 large planters filled with sweet potatoes. We did really good with our sweet potatoes last year. They do really well in growing containers, and we had quite a large harvest. And it looks like we're going to have another good harvest this year. This is the other bed. This is some bee balm. I put this in a number of years ago, and I like it because it attracts a lot of pollinators to the garden. This right here is, I don't know if you can see in there, get my hand in there. This is a pink brandywine. I am really impressed with this tomato. This is the first time I've grown it, and it was thanks to a lot of different YouTubers that were suggesting growing that because of it's got a wonderful taste, and it's a really good plant. It's pretty disease resistant. As you can see all the way down, the rest of these are just Roma tomatoes. Up on the other side of the cattle panel, I have some green beans growing. Green beans have been eaten up, the leaves have been eaten up pretty heavily by the Japanese beetles. Okay, over on let me zoom out a little bit. So on the outside of the fenced garden, I have some potted plants down the fence line. Next year we're going to be working on this area. We're also going to be working on next year taking out the mulch from inside the garden area. We're going to take all the mulch out and put down new landscape fabric and either put down new mulch, or we're actually thinking about getting some stone chip to put in there. We're also going to redo this side of the garden as well, where all the potted plants are. We're going to be putting most of the potted plants in the ground. So, and we'll probably put up some kind of a barrier, a short fence or something, some kind of a barrier to try to keep the rabbits out. We have a big problem with rabbits. Deer too, which is another reason why we fenced in the garden. But along this side we have all of our blueberries growing. Got 6 blueberry plants, and most of them are different varieties. This right here is a blue crop. I think it's a blue crop. Blue crop, yeah. And that one does really good in our area. You can also see some of my cherry tomato plants. These little ones here are called currant tomatoes. They're cute. They do taste good, but the skin is really thick. And I think next year I'm probably going to grow something different. This is Barry's Crazy yellow tomato. These are delicious, and the plant is prolific in how much it produces. You can see I have to actually pick quite a few. I have 3 of these plants, and we get quite a bit of fruit from them. Over here, I've got some currants. Let me zoom out. These are red currants. I've tried growing the black currants, but unfortunately, when I tried growing them, they didn't make it. I don't know if it was just not a good plant. I want to try again, because I heard the black ones are a lot sweeter than the red ones. These are our blackberries. Excuse, I've been out here weeding. We grow blackberries, and we also have raspberries as well. I have to say that I am really impressed with the blackberries. I kind of wish that I would have started with the blackberries. Because I don't know, the fruit and the plants just seem to hold up a lot better than the raspberries. which is odd, I know. But in terms of producing fruit, the blackberries seem to be doing better. This is our raspberry patch. Yes, I know, Tigger. We have two types of raspberries. We have the Latham and we have the traditional Red Heritage. I cut those back. This bed has been in for, I think, four years. And last year we really didn't get much of anything, so I ended up just cutting everything down because I heard that sometimes you have to do that. You have to just refresh the bed. So this year we didn't get a lot either, but I'm hoping next year we'll get a lot more fruit. This is the back of my husband's shop, and it's his workshop. We call it his workshop or garage. We put this grapevine in last year, and we have two different varieties. We have the Concord grape growing, and we also have a seedless green grape growing. And behind, I don't know how well you can see it, I apologize, the sun is awfully bright right now. This is our rain catching system. My husband built this actually this year, and it is working wonderfully. He has a pump, it's covered right now. I'll have to do a separate video on this with him and kind of go through with you guys what we've done. But we have 4 huge IBC totes totaling close to 1,000 gallons, and those, so far we haven't had to use any of our well water to water any of our garden. It's all been, we've been able to do all of our watering through the rainwater system that he's developed. Okay, this is a new garden bed that I put in this year. This is on our west side. And all the plants are fairly new in here, except there's a, well, I shouldn't say that. There's quite a few new plants, but there's also a lot of trees that I put in. I put those in a number of years ago. A lot of them are hazelnuts, and I also have some choke cherries as well. But I'm super excited. Let me show you the going down, all the way down. This bed is probably 40 to 50 feet long, and wanted to say I was excited because this is going to be the first year that we actually have hazelnuts. Like I said, I planted these. I'm going to hold one up here. Hope you can see that. I planted these trees. They were just a bare root, and they were just sticks. And I think this is their 5th year for a lot of them. And we're finally getting hazelnuts, so I am really excited. There are two. These are honeyberries. And those are doing really good. Those seem to really like it in the shade. And this area is mostly shaded. It's kind of like a shade garden. I have put in, there is a hydrangea there. There is a Tigger there in the bird bath. Notice there's no birds in there. Don't blame them. And there is, I think that's a Nico Blue hydrangea right here, this little guy. These were all planted the beginning of this year, and so they're not really, and there's also a couple back there. I also have several different types of hydrangeas, excuse me, hostas that are growing as well. So I'm anxious to see this bed develop. But that is it. Let me show you one more time. Tigger, that is just not nice to do while mommy is filming. Okay, so let's go down the rest of the west side of the garden, or the yard. And as you can see, this area is heavily wooded. We own, it varies. There's actually a ravine back there. It's hard to see. We own all the way back to the other side, back side of the ravine. It's depending on where you're at, you're looking at between 10 to 20 feet back, and it's heavily wooded. So our goal is we want to take the wood line all the way back to the ravine, all the way down, and we want to landscape. We want to put in landscaping all the way down. So we're still going to have a wildlife habitat, which is going to be the ravine. We're going to leave that pretty much natural. And the ravine is about, again, it depends on what area you're in, but it's, in general, I would say it's about 10 feet wide. So that's what we're working on now. My husband cleared this last fall, and it's been a bear trying to keep the weeds and small trees from growing up as we've been slowly developing it. But so far this year, this is what we have. This is what we have done. And again, you can tell that all of these plants, actually, all of these plants have been put in this year, all the way back to the ravine. You could see back there, whoops, there's my finger, is our very first pine tree. It's a blue spruce, and we have quite a few others, but I'm really excited. A lot of these I started from seed. This is Korean hyssop, which is, not only is it a beautiful plant, but it's supposed to make a really wonderful tea. Back behind that is catnip. Over here we have Nepeta growing, and then we have, I put in a couple of Autumn Joy sedum in there. Over here we have Agastache Rose Mint and Agastache Sunset Mint, and I got both of these from Baker's Creek, and I started them from seed. And let me tell you guys, these also are supposed to make a wonderful tea. I haven't tried it yet because this is the first year I put them in the ground, and I'm just too apprehensive about cutting anything from them right now. But I think they're beautiful plants, but I'm also looking forward to tasting them as well in a tea. A double Rosa Sharon in the pink. We have a sand cherry there. The beautiful dark leaves. This is the back, looking from the back side of our property to the house. We have some fruit trees. That is our south side with the arborvitaes. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead, just slowly pan. And there's Tigger. Slowly pan. So, right here is a Granny Smith. And that tree is 3 years old and it still looks like it's a stick. I think our winters are too cold for it. I think it would be fine in more southern areas of Illinois, but I think because we're in a pocket, like I said, we're 5A, I think we're just a little too cold for it. And this right here is a Fuji. And if you look back over here, this is a Stella cherry tree. And the Stella and the Fuji are both just, they were put in last spring. Alright, I'm going to take you up to and show you the front garden beds that are in front of our house. Okay, this is the garden bed on the east side of our home. I put this in last spring, so this is its second year. And we ended up doing 2 layers of brick as a border, which I really, really like. We have hostas growing along the edge of the home. I think those are Patriots, but I'm not sure. And we have Brennera. I need to get one more to go on the end there, but I haven't been able to find an extra one. These are wonderful plants. This spring they gave us quite the show. And there is a Tigger. Hey Tigger! Hi! And back in here we have lungwort, spotted lungwort. I love that stuff. It doesn't look that good right now. We've had a problem with earwigs and slugs, and I have treated the area, but unfortunately I didn't get it quite soon enough. Back behind the lungwort there are some heucheras. I believe that's the Carnival series. And then I don't know if you can see it, but there is a Japanese fern, painted fern. Bless you. And this is potato vine. So, show you it from this side here. And then turning, this is the front bed. My husband built this 2 years ago. And we really, really are happy with this. all of the plants in the bed are all perennials. We have two dwarf spruces, and the phlox right now is in season. That is, I do believe, David's phlox. And then just the front porch. And then slowly panning around, you can see the garden, my husband's shop, and then leading out to the front. So that is it, folks. That is a tour of our yard, and I hope in future videos to show you all the upgrades and updates that we're planning on doing. So anyhow, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next time. All right, bye-bye.